I want to start this video out by saying this, and it's not going to come across this way in the title or thumbnail, but if I'm being honest, I think XDefiant is a perfectly good and acceptable game. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it, and in fact, I would even say it is fun. I had a fun time playing this game over the past weekend. If you didn't know, XDefiant had a server test going on this weekend to test its servers, netcode, that kind of thing. And more or less, we got a game that we pretty much received almost a year ago with the beta of XDefiant. The difference is that now they are getting closer to launching the game. But here's the thing: 6, 7, 9 months ago, when people started playing this game, they were really into it. And based off of the feedback that I've seen in the past 24, 48 hours, people are not on the same bandwagon anymore. And I kind of wanted to take a look and reason as to why that is actually the case. And I think there is a very obvious and simple explanation for this that comes down to two different things. First of all, the first video I made on XDefiant, I call it the Call of Duty killer. I will probably continue to do that whenever a new shooter like this comes out, just because it gets attention and draws attention to that, and we can compare it to Call of Duty. And I think that's an acceptable thing to do on this channel, because I mainly make Call of Duty videos. It's a good comparison. It's also the biggest first-person shooter currently out, so it makes sense to kind of compare the two. Also, XDefiant is very clearly trying to go head-to-head with Call of Duty, as behind the scenes they have stated that most of the decisions they made follow the decision-making of what would Call of Duty do. So that kind of left us with where we are today. But the thing I wanted to look at is the feedback that this game is getting and why they are getting it. To understand this, we need to start off 2 years ago with the announcement of XDefiant. When this was announced, it was interesting. Another person or community or group or publisher making a first-person arena shooter. That is what Call of Duty is. It's an arcade shooter, just to be clear. It's not a milsim, anything like that. It's an arcade shooter. And XDefiant was doing this in a way where they had specialists, where they had different kind of abilities that you could get and use. They were using all of the Ubisoft properties, whether that be DedSec from Watch Dogs or whether that be another property altogether. Like for Far Cry, they were bringing it all together. And in doing this, it drew a lot of attention. And on top of that, ex-Call of Duty developers were making this game. So completely a Call of Duty killer is what it was kind of presented as and what people saw it as. A year later, they started releasing alphas, betas, closed betas, and then eventually an open beta. And when they did so, you could level up weapons, you could really feel what the game was actually all about. And for the most part, people were really enjoying this game. They liked the movement of it, they liked the mechanics of the specialist. It felt different enough from Call of Duty, but also similar enough to kind of take away some of the audience from Call of Duty. And at the point of the beta, which I believe closed about 7 months ago, people were really hyped for this game. Not to mention, there was no skill-based matchmaking and the game was to be free to play. So when the beta closed, very high praise. But then the game was supposed to come out last summer and it got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And to the point where we are sitting at right now, where the game is still not out. They're doing a server test for it. And now people are like, okay, this is a fun game, but really, what is there to it? It's not a Call of Duty game. It's not as fluent as Call of Duty. It doesn't feel as good. And all in all, why would I be playing this game over Call of Duty? Well, it's a different game, so that's one reason. And maybe you've leveled up everything in Call of Duty and you want another game to do it in. That's a good reason. But here's where the problem comes in. This is the exact same game that came out 7 months ago in the beta. The exact same thing. They worked on it for months and months and months. And I can tell you from what I have played, really not much has changed. The one thing, the big improvement is the servers are a little bit better. I don't find myself lagging as much. So yeah, the server test in that sense was a success. But when we see a Call of Duty game coming out every 12 months, that is a brand new game, new setting, this year kind of aside, and all of these new weapons, new mechanics, things along those lines. When a game like this is delayed for so long, I think people are so used to seeing these big, massive, game-changing changes that when we wait and wait and wait, people are expecting more. They're expecting something new. And this game, XDefiant, didn't do that, which is okay. But when you've already put so much out there and then make people wait, and then they're expecting more, the only thing left for them to be is disappointed. Now, there is one other problem I do see with XDefiant. When you are coming into a space like this, whether it be a first-person shooter, arcade shooter, battle royale, extraction shooter, there kind of has to be something that sets you apart. Call of Duty kind of aside, because Call of Duty has kind of already set the mainframe for what their game is and what it actually does and what people like to play. So when they just come out every year with new weapons, new maps, some new modes, things like that, new mechanics, people are like, okay, this is Call of Duty. I can play this. I know what I'm expecting. But to take kind of market cap away from Call of Duty and pull people away, because again, this is a live service game. They are competing for people's time. Not necessarily their money, but yes, money will come with it, but their time. Whenever a live service game comes out, they want people to be playing for as long amount of time as possible, not just buying the game at the very beginning. Not to mention XDefiant free to play, which will help it in the long run. But with XDefiant, there is nothing that sets itself apart and above Call of Duty or above any other game. There is not that one mechanic that you go, okay, I need to be doing this more. Yes, I will say some of the abilities that you can get, like the sonar goggles where you get the one-shot pistol, are fun to use, fun rewards, and you get like 1 or 2 of them a game, and yeah, it's fun when you do that. But there is no individual mechanic, gameplay elements, or gameplay in and of itself that makes me go, yeah, I need to be playing more of this. I'm not thinking about it during the day. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to get home tonight and that's what we're going to be doing. It just doesn't have that draw. However, when I played the beta back in the day, when it first came out, it kind of did have that pull towards me. Even though the netcode and servers were not as good, there was something about it then that was a little bit better. And I struggled to try to figure out what that was. And honestly, it comes down to Call of Duty. When they released the beta for this game, Modern Warfare 2 was the game that everyone was playing. I did not like Modern Warfare 2. So when XDefiant came out then for the beta, it almost scratched that itch of the arcade shooter that I wanted to be playing. That was fun. That brought me into the game. But now that Modern Warfare 3 is the main shooter for Call of Duty, it's a better game. The mechanics play better. It's smoother. It's more fluent. The gameplay is just better in my opinion. On top of that, Rebirth Island is out and they fixed the mechanics in Warzone. And now that Call of Duty is better, XDefiant might have been up here compared to Call of Duty when the beta came out because Modern Warfare 2 was so low. But as they've fixed the game, this has got better and XDefiant has stayed the same. Which means, why would I be playing XDefiant if there's a better game out there? XDefiant, in my opinion, the biggest problem and thing that they're going to have to overcome is that they missed their window. And for them to kind of take that market cap once again and make people want to play it over Call of Duty, there has to be that it factor that puts it above the other game. And as of right now, I simply don't see that happening. Again, I've been a little bit harsh. I think the game's fun. I think it's good. And I think it's a good break from Call of Duty. But will it take over as the Call of Duty game, the IT arcade shooter? I don't see it happening. That's kind of what I took away from this weekend. And it's unfortunate because I was kind of hyped for this one. I thought it might do well. And with it being free to play, there's a lot of people who would hop onto that over Call of Duty because it's free to play. But hey, I guess that's why we pay for Call of Duty every year. And yeah, there's some big problems with it too. And we've talked about those on the channel. But that was kind of my takeaway. But if you agree, if you disagree, I would very curious to see what the comments are like on this video. So make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And as always, let me know what you think down in the comments. That's kind of my thoughts after the server test for XDefiant. And I'm curious to hear what your guys is. So as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, peace.